David, in the interest of giving the audience a quick overview, I know a lot of you know a bit about Get Money Out of Politics and about what's happening in the electoral cycle, but how do we create and build the alternatives? Give us a brief education on what's stopping us and what's out there.
Okay. We live in such an exciting time because there's a political awakening happening throughout the country and throughout the world. The internet has brought about such an evolution in consciousness, in global consciousness, political consciousness. And people realize that what we have right now, our current system of rule, is obsolete. And there's amazing alternatives that are being developed. Alternative energy, alternative education, alternative media, you name it. There are new, amazing, effective alternatives out there, but they're not reaching a critical mass. They're not being allowed to follow an organic process of growing the culture and growing us as a species, not to sound too grandiose. But when you look at it and you say, why aren't these things taking off, it comes down to money and politics. You know, I do a bunch of speaking events, and the one thing that I dislike speaking about the most is money and politics. You know, it's sexy to talk about all the alternatives and all the new exciting things that people are doing. But, you know, money and politics is the root of what is holding us back as a society. And
I want to cut him off. I have to say something about David. What's important about the effort that he led, which was and inspired Occupy Wall Street and Occupy that we did around the world, was that the ideas of economic inequality were not on the radar, but then the minute he started that process, it was all that we talked about. And there was a moment that people recognized that the core, as he suggested, of almost everything that disempowers the middle class or locks out the innovation he's referring to is this money. So I just want to say that that is something, without that Occupy, this consciousness that's being lifted would take so much longer. But he took a giant step for all of us, and I want to applaud him for what he did with Occupy.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people here were involved in Occupy LA, right? I mean, so it was such an amazing process that just took over. And I also want to return the favor, Russell could be in St. Bart's right now with a bunch of models, but he's not, all right? He's here talking about getting money out of politics. So I give major props and respect for that.
I'll be there in 2 weeks.
All right,